Welcome back to another explainer. I am so thrilled to guide you through today's topic. I absolutely love breaking down fascinating narratives to see exactly what makes them tick. And man, I just couldn't wait to share this one with you. We're looking at a deeply moving story called The Ink of Unfinished Dreams. We're going to unpack the mechanics of inspiration, serendipity, and how one tiny, seemingly insignificant moment can literally rewrite the trajectory of multiple lives. If you're focused on understanding the incredible power of storytelling, well, you are in the exact right place. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Can rewriting a tragic story actually change real life? It's a huge question, right? I mean, we usually think of fiction as just an escape from reality, a little temporary refuge. But what happens when fictional hope is injected directly into real-world despair? Can just imagining a better ending actually manifest healing in real life? Keep this in the back of your mind as we go, because we're about to explore how one creative decision did exactly that. Section 1. A Bookstore in Mysore. So, our story anchors itself in this incredibly vivid setting. Picture a small, quiet alleyway in the city of Mysore. Nestled in there is a bookstore named Akshata. Now, this isn't some pristine, brightly lit, modern retailer, no. It is a dusty little shop absolutely packed to the brim with secondhand books, each one carrying the weight of past readers. And this is where we meet our protagonist, Akash. He's a short story writer, and like so many creatives out there, he is completely stuck, hitting a wall. He's just wandering through these aisles, desperately searching for a spark of inspiration for his next novel. It's the perfect setting, really, a place full of forgotten things just waiting to be rediscovered. Section 2. The Forgotten Diary. And rediscover something. He absolutely does. While rummaging through those dusty shelves at Akash doesn't just find an old published book. He actually stumbles upon a mysterious, ownerless item. It's a forgotten diary. Now, the really interesting part here is the contrast. Akash starts flipping through the pages and finds immense beauty, exquisite poems, incredibly vulnerable personal memories. But there is absolutely no name attached anywhere. None. It's this profound outpouring of emotion completely detached from an identity. Basically, it's like a ghost pouring its heart out onto paper. But the true emotional weight of this whole discovery hits on the very last page. It simply says, "Everything in life stops halfway, just like my dreams." Just let that sink in for a second. It's such a heartbreaking, abrupt ending. The sheer pain and despondency in that single, melancholic sentence deeply touched Akash. I mean, it's a feeling of universal defeat that honestly any of us can relate to at some point. But here it was, just abruptly abandoned on a dusty shelf. Section 3. Rewriting the ending. Well, Akash couldn't just leave those words sitting there. So he bought the diary, took it home, and decided to use it as the core inspiration for his novel. But he makes a life-altering creative choice here, and this brilliantly illustrates the power of perspective. He takes the original source material, this diary with its sad, abrupt ending, and he completely pivots. For his novel, he transforms that tragic pain into a romantic triumph. He gives the story a hopeful, beautiful conclusion. He essentially refuses to let the dream stop halfway. And what you should take away from this is how we all have the agency to reframe our own narratives, to find hope where originally there was only despair. Let's see how this actually builds into real-world success. We start on day 1, right? That serendipitous moment finding the diary in the dusty bookstore. Then, over the next few months, he pours all this newly reframed, hopeful energy into writing the novel. And then, a year later, comes the payoff. Akash becomes a best-selling author. This anonymous spark of inspiration completely changed the trajectory of his entire career. It really just proves that empathy and hope resonate massively with people. Section 4. The Bestseller and the Stranger. Now, an entirely new chapter begins, and the energy completely shifts. Picture this, a super busy book signing event. Akash is sitting at a table, proudly signing copies of his best-selling novel for this massive line of eager fans. Suddenly, a young woman walks right up to his table. But she doesn't hand him a crisp new copy of his novel. Instead, she slides an old, familiar, worn-out book across the table and asks, "Could you sign this, please?" Who handed him the very diary that started it all? Akash looks up from the table in absolute shock. It was Sakshi, the true owner of the diary, the ghostwriter of those beautiful poems and that incredibly painful final sentence. She wasn't just some random stranger, she was the silent collaborator whose pain had actually fueled his greatest success. Sakshi smiles gently at him and explains everything. She says,
A year ago, during the darkest phase of my life, I lost this diary. When I read your novel, I realized how beautifully you completed my incomplete story. Your imagination gave a new ray of hope to my despondent life. So, the crucial point is this: Akash didn't just write a successful book. By choosing to inject hope into her sad, abrupt ending, his fictional hope actually cured Sakshi's real-life despondency. The positive ending he imagined for her became the literal lifeline she needed to heal in the real world. How amazing is that?
Section 5. A brand new story.
You can only imagine the incredible serendipity of this moment. Akash is left completely speechless. He gently takes the old diary from her hands. He physically opens it up, turning past all the poems and the memories, all the way to the very last page. And he places his pen right beneath that original heartbroken sentence she wrote a year ago, the one about dreams stopping halfway.
And he writes this final response: "No story stops halfway. It simply waits for the right person to bring it back to life." As their eyes met, the first page of a brand new real-life love story was written. It's such a brilliant reminder for all of us. When you look at the challenges or the seemingly abrupt endings in your own life, I want you to ask yourself, is the story actually over, or is it just waiting for the right perspective, or maybe the right person to bring it back to life? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep framing your narratives with hope, and I will see you next time.